Assalamu alaikum. क्या हाल चाल है? This is Haseeb from live from Inspire 360 page, and today's is date is 16th of May 2020. The time is 3:45, and today we will be discussing regarding to recruitment. What is recruiting? And what are the steps of a recruiting process, and what the organization in the organization see the recruitment process, and how they imagine how they take steps, and we will be discussing related to it, and we will be giving you a live will be giving you the example of international country where the process of recruitment is goes on, and it's a recruitment and selection are two different things, but is simultaneously recruiting is a different prospect and the selection is a different prospect. So we will be discussing later on in the recruiting and selection process, and today's we will be discussing related to recruiting, how the recruitings are done in the organizations, and the and how they see in the visit the university process, and this will be discussing today in today's session. So stay tuned with me right now. Right, as per what I see in today's era, the recruitment is now getting more and more in larger scale, and there are head hunters also there in the organizations. There are agencies over there, and they are looking after the very good people to hire in the organization. But in reality, I would say that today's world is going up faster and faster due to technology error. And you have to be upgraded with your skills, technology, and you have to give life examples so that the employees should be involved, motivated, and they see a future growth in their self and in the organization to for the longer perspective. But I would say I've been seeing that lots of in the during this lockdown and the previously, the you have to see a lot of things that what kind of jobs in the market are they offering. Point number one, and how many people are interested or fully interested to do that job. I'm giving you the life example of myself that I've searched many jobs, right? And I applied it for different positions also. And in reality, what happened, the as a recruiter, as a HR person, what they are offering, what they are requirement, and what we are doing. What we are doing is that if, for example, the person is the job is there for the assistant manager, right, and the person is looking for the position for the executive or is a new beginner, he also applying for the assistant manager. But in reality, this does not match because the skills and the talent and the requirements are the required by the organization. It does not match with the CV or the applicant. So what happened? The already the within this 15 to 30 seconds, the applicant is rejected within this huge mistakes. And in reality, the recruitment is wasting her or his time during this process. So I will go to the presentation. Uh, so here is that the linking of organization strategy to human resource planning is that ensure that people are available to meet the requirements set that during the strategic planning. Strategic planning means that during the HR planning, we have to organize it. What are the requirements of the people? What are the uh, job posting you are requiring it, and that is the most important thing. Assessing the current current human resource, that human resource inventory report summarize this as a whole, whatever the workers and their skills and information are the requirement, as we studied before, that what are the job description, what the job analysis, and that is raised by the concerned department. That is the most important thing, and the HR person has to look after it. So when we are studying it, the company organizations, so the increasing of during the technology era, the database you are increasing in information you are importing in that software and about the employees, so that whenever the employments, if empty, the position is empty, the HR person can go through that the system and identify or pick the concerned people and shortlisted them for the interview, and soon as the possible the recruitment and the position is filled in. uh, let's what is that is the success planning is that the include that the development of the replacement chart, porter and the middle to upper level management position that may become the vacant in the near future. Less information from individual who might qualify to fill the position. This is very important. The things we are studying it, and during the HR planning and during the recruitment process is very important these days. And I would suggest you that this is the I would say the HR, and during the recruitment process, you always need to see that what are the people, when the people will be retiring, when who will be fired and dismissals, and who is getting to be transferred to one department to another department, how many people will be layoffs, and how many voluntary will be quit, so who say that I will resign from this organizations, and whatever the prolonged illness, maternity or other deaths can be there. I uh, I will I will explain in deeply of these points, like that retirement means, for example, the age of the person is around 60 plus or 65, the bracket area, and the retirement of the concerned person is to be retired on the age of 60 or 65. So at that moment, it's very easy that the next person who will be coming up or who will be taking over in that position, and that is the very easiest part for the HR person to fulfill that place. In dismissal, it means that the person has been fired immediately, and you have the less time to fill that, and that how it fulfill that, the next position is has been tasked over, and he has to fulfill the upper task, and his task, and all the job description or GDs has to be fulfilled and has to be delivered by the both ends. Then some organizations are looking for the dramatic to save the time from the within the organization, so they hire from the within the department to another department. For example, I give you an example. Was a person was working in operations department, so she was a very good position, she was a good performance holder. So in a one department, there was a person was resigning on immediate basis. So what happened, in that department, they think that if we hire a new person, we have to give time and train and everything, so we need to save that thing. So we hire from the internal department, that is called transfer from one department to another department. So that person was hired from the one department to that department, transfer it. So the training process was very less, and it was because the environment of the organization, the rules and regulations for that person was same. So the transferring of that person was easy to understand. So the workload and the work, the system, the softwares they were using, so that was easy, but hardly few things has to be increased, and that was learning aspects, and person is transferred to that department. So that's the how the organizations look after. So in one, so there is one thing more, that person was transferred from one department to another. That department that needs to be fulfilled, that also the place also. So what happened, the another person was within the internal department shifted to that seat position. Okay, and now that position was vacant. So new person was hired, new person was hired in that position. So how it happened, I will explain you on the board. Okay, this was the one person, and she was transferred to another department. So the position of this was vacant. Okay, so this was here and transferred. So this position is empty in that department. So what happened? There was a person was working. Okay, this is the third person, and this person has been promoted to this position, and this position is vacant. So what happened? New hiring, new training, new every perspective, and has been trained, positioned over here. So new hiring over here. So this person is new, this person is old. So all that matters, all the position, all the workload has been old for her to understand the process and they understand the leads and everything. So understanding of the business. So this is will be easiest, and this is how the transfer process goes on. Then voluntary quits means, yeah, I resign. I looking for the better position. That person is gone to another organization, so he resigned from that organization. That is a voluntary quits. Prolonged illness means he has been sick for the 3 months or has a major injury. That means that after 3 to 4 months or 6 months, if the organization see that this person is not coming and this the illness or the sickness is prolonged or disease that is caused is will be longer, so that person is been fired or resigned, have been given the golden handshake, so that the position should be emptied without any loss to the organization. If person accidentally or the deaths goes on, so the HR planning is that as a recruitment, as a HR person, that needs to be fulfilled within the time period. This is a very important these days, and that needs to be fulfilled. So that's how we understand the things, right? So this is a very important as per this is as per HR planning and how the recruitment and process goes on. And as per we see that job analysis is a system exploring of the activities within a job, and it defines documents the duties and responsibilities and accountability of a job and the conditions under which a job is performed, and that is the needs to be analysis, and the company needs to be understand how the methods goes on. The job analysis is done by the observation methods, individual interview method, and group interview method. Job analysis means watches employees directly or reviews when the work lead and the experience of the organization, how much person has been worked in that organization. That is the most important thing. And the individual interview matter, the team of job incubated as selected and extensively interviewed means a group of people or group of persons are have been sitting in that position, and one-to-one interview has been done between the one person to another person, and that is a huge extensive and it's a prolonged interview. So that is how been the requirement that job analysis has been done or no. Job interview method is as per the group interview method is basically a number of job incumbent all interviewed simultaneously. For example, this is how it's done that two or three people are sitting in as one end, and there one candidate is not there, is five or more than five people are sitting in one room, that is a group interview, and simultaneously will be discussing or interview between them. Giving you a live example related to it, that I was giving a interview related to at PSO for the internship. So what happened? They given the topic to us to discuss related to it, and what happened that there was 10 to 15 people were sitting around the people, and one was the moderator, and he was the observing all the candidates who is participating and who is not participating, and once she or he is participating, so what level of he or she is speaking up, and what kind of language he is speaking, and how is English proficient or Urdu speaking, or by languages speaking it. So in that scenario, the it's a cluster, and it is a very good opportunity to explore that thing also, and it's a learning aspect. If you don't select it, doesn't mean don't disheart yourself. It's a learning aspect, because in future you will be facing these kinds of activities in the longer terms. Uh, then the job analysis methods, the structure questionnaire method, technical conference method, diary method, means it's all analysis how your job is conducted, the structure, and these all the things will be matter, and it's easiest thing, but in the long term, it's a beneficiary in all view. So this is the cycle of a job analysis, and this give you leads to the as per to the recruitment also. Understanding and the purpose of the job analysis, understand the roles of the jobs in the organization, and once you are understanding the roles, so you will be marking a benchmark positions, the brackets related to the position, the grading system, and the experience and the job knowledge, and all those things will be benchmarking position. Determine how to collect job analysis informations is already informed you. See clarification, develop draft, and review draft with the supervisor. This is how the job analysis is been done. So, taking to this is has been done, the recruitments and the learning aspects, and this is thank you, digital partner, our Neonex Digital Solutions, and he is promoting this thing. And today's topic that is the recruitment and selections, and we'll be discussing related to recruiting today. And every Saturday we will be conducting this HRM class, and it's free of cost, right? Right, right. So do subscribe on my YouTube channel also. Right, right. So, right. Switching to recruitment process, I will be briefly discuss related to it, and right. Okay, and here we go. Okay. Recruiting is basically once an organization identifies human resource needs to the employment planning, and as I discussed in a previous thing, that previous the employment HR planning is most very important, and it can begin to process of recruiting potential candidate for actual or anticipate organizational vacancies. Basically, recruiting brings together those jobs to fill and those seeking jobs, and that is very important as per recruiting. And is in future I will be discussing how it's done to provide information that will attract a significant pool of qualified candidates and discourage qualified ones from applying. Uh, this means in the during the recruitment process, you have to be identify what are the benchmark. For example, you selecting MBA for this as per educational level. As per experience, you are looking for 2 to 3 years. Which department, sales operation or the operations, HR, or sales or technicals or IT persons. This is the experience you are looking of, and then you float that information into the market, and from that cluster of the people, you select a significant pool that qualified in your criteria or those who apply, and you select from those candidates for the further process. So the factors that is very important, and as per previously discussed regarding the organization size, how it's small, how it's large, it is a multinational company, is a sole proprietor, so the CTA company, for example, or employment condition in the area, the environment of the working people. For example, females are very happy in the working in the banking sector, but in reality, nowadays I say that women and are comfortable in every field, and because of their interest, and they are working rigorously and they loved it. So that is how the people should be giving the equal opportunities to men and the women, so they perform and to get a better working standard, and they fulfill their requirements, and if they have interested to work further, then they can work further also. uh, Working conditions, salary, and the benefits of it, that is the most important thing during the recruiting goals and organizations. The most important thing is the most important thing in the organization is very has been grow or declining. How it measure the reputation of the organizations has been researched in that criteria or in that industry. If it is hardly a baby or 2 to 3 years, that means that company has needs lot of time to increase or grow himself or herself himself. But sometimes the organizations in the short term and goes down. For example, how it measures, if you remember the life cycle of product life cycle, that's life cycle always note that life cycles always come from the here, grow, standard, and decline. This means the organization is over here, means that needs to be start the grow, the constant in the standard in there, and decline. Many organizations comes, start, boom, and down, and sometimes start and down, and it all happens due to the structure or the rules and regulations, whatever the structure they are following in the organization. That is a very important. Okay. Okay, constraint on recruiting efforts, that is organization image, job attractiveness, internal organization policies, government influence such as discrimination laws, and recruiting costs. That is the most important things. The organization image is very important. How the organization attracts jobs, how the internal organization SOPs and the policies are followed, and how the organization policies are the implemented in between the employees, and the how the structure goes on, and the how the government's laws are applicable, how the government influence over there. and all those things is equal to the cost of the recruiting this measure also, because the person is investing his or her time to hire good people in their organization. uh, Recruiting as a global perspective, for some position, the whole world is a relevant labor market. Home country nationals are recruiting when the organization is searching for someone with extensive company experience to launch a very technical product in a country where it has never sold before. Uh, this is one of the perspective, and country hosts and national are targeted as recruits when companies want such foreign subsidiary to have its own distinct national identity. And to some countries, laws controls how many expatriates or all corporations can send. For example, one organization send his employees to another country to grow their industries. For example, Pakistan have sent their in the textile industry, one of the leading organizations and industrialists that has been set up an industry and in Bangladesh, and a few people from here has been sent over there to work in that or environment, to work with them, to work with the employees, to grow and to have a environment growth over there. Okay. Recruiting, regardless of the nationality, may develop an executive career with a truly global perspective also, and always think that how the recruitment is done and what are the resources sources has been used, and I will discussing only four aspects, that is internal searches, employees referral, recommendations, and third is external searches, fourth is alternatives. Internal searches, that within the organization searches goes on. Employees referrals goes between if the person is within the organization, but out of that organization have been referred or have a recommendation to that organization that has been given to it. Or external searches means going to the different job portals, searching from there, and hiring people or recruiting from their job portal, for example rosie.pk, linkedin, or any other mustaqbil dot from there, that is external searches. And some organizations who go for the university drive, that is for the internship or the jobs, they goes over there, so they hire and they hire interns from their universities also. And the this all goes this is the things which we goes. But as per alternatives, I would say that temporary help from the within the department, or for the certain period, 3 to 4 months, the person has been given the responsibility to work until that person has been fulfilled or a new person is hired. Employee leasing, that means a trained worker has been leased up, which provide employment needs to a flat fee uh, for the longer period. And do specific work either on the of the employees premises. Cost of the regular employees taxes and benefits are not included. Independent means a third party contractual are there, has been hired with in the organization. They are also, there is a perspective that the persons are hired for the 3 to 4 months on the contractual basis, and then he or she is transferred as a permanent employee also. Some organization as a third party or the contractors has been hired, and they are places to that in that organization. Giving that example, I was working as a territory sales for the one of the leading MNC company, and they hire me, and they transferred to the distributor sector. So how it happened and how it goes, the salary perspective also. the MNC hire me. Okay, he said you will be transferred to this distributor and you will be giving this salary from this here. How it goes? Half 50% salary given by the MNC and 50% salary given by the distributor. So the combined salary giving to that employee. And I was on contractual basis, open contractual. Anytime I can be fired. There was no leaves. If you get leave, the salary will be deducted, and this is how it goes on. So that was very good, and it was a commission given the allowances on also over there. But at that, for me, I worked as a for 1 year, and that experience given me a learning experience, and that's how I have given the cartons on my bike. Also, I developed to the different corporate organizations and have a good interaction with them also. So overall, I love that job, and I've seen that many in the currently when I do some activity related to my home modes. So I have to pick some cartons or some packets. I have to kept on my motorbike. So I kept it on the, and that practice have been done given in that job. So that gives me a confidence, and in future I utilize it as things also, and it's giving me a lovely experience over there. So overall, lovely experience. I loved it. So this is the process, and the recruiting process goes on. And thank you very much, sir. Today's class will be ending over here, and next class related to selection process and recruitment and selection. Recruitment is done today, and selections is upcoming. The class related to it we will be discussing it, and it will be Saturday class, and will be doing it. It will be on the 23rd May. Same timing, same place. Have a nice day. See you. Allah Hafiz.